Good evening, everyone, and welcome to City Hall. We are right here in Muscatine, Iowa, at City Hall in the mayor's office on August 14th of 2018. We're going to be recording live for you our city. We have a couple of great guests coming up, but before that, I wanted to start with some stuff that just happened over the past week since we were last here and show you some highlights. First of all, I'd like to show you a fun day. I went out to All Steel. They have 4 times a year. They have different employee gatherings where they do a fundraiser to give to different charitable organizations, and JDRF is always the one in August. And I went out and served potato salad, and it was a fun time. All of the employees came out and they pay a few dollars for a nice lunch and not have to bring their lunch or go anywhere, and all the proceeds go to JDRF. And I wanted to thank All Steel and all of their employees for doing that. It was a great time. And I need to correct myself. I was just talking about JDRF right before the show. It wasn't for JDRF. They do one for JDRF. This one was for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. So I apologize for that. Next, I wanted to just let you know that school's right around the corner. It starts next week. So if you haven't gotten your kiddos their school supplies yet, please get out to Community Action of Eastern Iowa. They're in the Muscatine Mall. I'm sure they still have some stuff left. Give them a call if you want to just check 263-9230. If you need some help getting those school supplies, they would love to be able to help get you all set up so your kiddos can get started next week on a good foot. Next, I wanted to show you some highlights of Second Saturday. You know, we have Second Saturday all through these nice summer and fall months, and it was a really good turnout. This past one was all about school, and they had teachers that came forward to take turns being in the dunk tank. And when they did that, they got $50 and got to go spend it at Second Saturday stuff. But it was a really good time. They had crafts, they had food down there. Everybody came out and had a great time. I heard nothing but good. The teachers, thank you to all of them for coming forward and taking your turns. I wouldn't take my turn in the dunk tank. I did it years ago, but I'm done with that now. But thank you, look at them. And it was cold water, I heard. So it's a good time. And there'll be another one coming up. So keep your eyes peeled for that. You can go on Facebook, Muscatine Second Saturday, and find out when the next one is. Good time. Thank you to everybody who helped out with that event. We're going to get right into our first guest, and we have with us Kathy Anderson-Knoll, the Director of Muscatine County Community Services. That's a mouthful.
Well, it is. And you can also add a Disabilities Coordinator for the Eastern Iowa Mental Health and Disability Services region for Muscatine.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Can you even fit that all in a business
Well,
card?
I just try to fit it all in the work week. And that spills over sometimes too, but that's
now,
okay.
Do they still call you Central Point of Contact?
No.
Okay, so that title went away.
The term Central Point of Coordination went away with the regionalization.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, everybody reverted back to being Community Services Directors.
Okay.
And Coordinators of Disability Services is the regional title to each Community Services person in each county.
So in our region, and we're made up of Five counties. 5 counties.
And we have Clinton, Cedar, Muscatine, Scott, and Jackson counties within the Eastern Iowa Mental Health and Disability Services region. We're one of 14 regions in the state of Iowa.
Okay.
And so we have total population, I believe, is around 350,000 that we serve, and I could be wrong on that number. But, you know, we're like a medium-sized region.
Sure.
Know.
And the idea is to make sure that all of the people in our region have access to good quality mental health care.
Right, that's true.
That's even.
Even, right. The idea, you know, prior to regionalizations, we had 99 counties, and the state looked at it, there's 99 counties, 99 different plans. That wasn't really accurate. Mm-hmm. But there were some differences between counties.
Sure.
And so regionalization wanted to make things even between counties. You know, there've still been some bugs to work out, primarily with funding mechanisms.
Oh, I bet.
That's been very difficult from the beginning. We're trying to work through that, you know, and every year the legislature puts some restrictions and puts some requirements on regions. Last year in 2017, we had Senate File 504, which requires regions to spend down fund balance, and fund balance is what you have left over in your budget at the end of the fiscal year.
Like your savings account.
Well,
stuff
yeah,
you didn't spend.
Stuff you didn't spend, stuff that you probably are planning to spend. And so, you know, they wanted regions to spend down to 20% or 25%, depending on the size of your region, by the end of June of 2020. That being said, a lot of regions had a pretty healthy fund balance. And you have to remember that regions began in 2014. And so a lot of, you know, there were a lot of figuring things out.
Sure.
Trying to get certain services, which are called core services, off the ground. One of the things that our region did, we contracted with Robert Young out of Rock Island to manage the crisis system. And we'll talk a little bit about the crisis system.
Because we really didn't have a lot of crisis in Muscatine, did we?
Well, no.
Didn't
have crisis care per se. You know, we had services.
Emergency room you could go to.
Absolutely. And, you know, different therapists and providers. You know, we had mental health providers. We had providers who provided community-based services.
Sure.
Muscatine County Community Services, you know, has a 24-hour call line. But, you know, basically if it was an emergency, the best recourse is usually 911.
Right.
So the Eastern Iowa region banded together and contracted with Robert Young to develop a crisis system. And one of the first things that they did was implement a 24-hour crisis line.
Isn't that helpful?
That's really great because, you know, they track the numbers of calls they get every month. They track statistics on which days are, you know, they get the most calls. And it's interesting because that varies. You would think it would be nights and weekends.
Sure.
Sometimes it's Monday, sometimes it's Thursday.
Wow.
So, you know, it's just really interesting to track that data. I will say the number for the crisis line is 1-844-430-0375. And people can call that 24/7. You'll get a live person to talk to. Will help problem solve, you know, for whatever is going on with in your life. You know, a crisis includes, but it's not limited to, you know, death or loss of somebody, depression, suicidal thoughts. But it can also be things like, you know, eating or sleeping problems, too much or too little. You know, behaviors, not getting along with your family or friends, sudden changes of behaviors. And of course, you know, back to thinking of harming yourself or someone else.
Sure.
And any of those things, you know, it would warrant a call to the crisis line.
Right.
Sometimes the crisis line, that's somebody's entry into mental health services.
Sure, sure.
And some of the other services that are available in Muscatine and also in the region would be things like integrated health home with a care coordinator. Also in Muscatine and in every county in the region, we have a ED-based care coordinator and a community-based care coordinator. So if someone shows up to the emergency department with a mental health issue,
okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
Emergency department.
Gotcha. It took me a second.
We used to call it emergency room, but
now it's
you know, everybody calls
department.
it emergency department. So that's a little terminology change there.
Yes, instead of ER.
Right, right. ER-ED.
Sure.
You know, you go to the same place.
Can we get that crisis number up here while we're talking? That'll be something folks at home might want to jot down. It's under Muscatine County Community Services. I think you're on Community Action of Eastern Iowa. That's a different organization, Ryan. We have to train people on the nonprofit stuff that we all assume everybody knows.
I know, we just, it's second nature to us.
It's a different world for us, isn't it?
Well, it is.
But we want to get that up there so the folks at home have it. But I was wondering, Kathy, on the crisis line, sometimes it might be that people don't feel like they have enough to go to the emergency room. but they can call the crisis line
Right.
without being serious enough that they think that they have to go to the emergency room, right?
Right.
So, and get help
Right.
right then, somebody
And-
to guide them.
Yeah, one of the things, the major goals of the crisis system, and, we have stages of implementation for different services, and there's still, things that are being phased in that we're trying to get up and running throughout
Sure.
the region. I do want to note that I did say the emergency departments in every county. Cedar County does not have a hospital.
True.
So they have what's called mobile crisis.
Okay.
And mobile crisis, by calling this 844-430-0375 in Cedar County, if necessary, they will dispatch mobile crisis, which is a team that goes to the person and determines, what do we need to do? Do we
Okay.
need to, this person need to go to the hospital? Do they just need, some follow-up the next day? Do they need referrals to mental health services?
Okay.
And so,
So that's a way to address a county that doesn't have a hospital,
Right.
that wouldn't have the emergency room
Right.
access.
and in more rural counties, you see more of that.
Right.
One of the, further phases for our crisis system is to have mobile crisis in all 5 counties.
Sure.
And,
Sure.
within the next year or two, we hope to see that. And I think that'll be a benefit too. So that, that's the Eastern Iowa.
Okay. The mental health.
Yeah, the mental health, the
Yes.
regional things, and as a region, we meet monthly, the regional governing board. It's comprised of one board of supervisor member from each of the 5 counties, and 2, family members, ex officio members.
Sure.
So we have a family member from Muscatine County, a family member, I believe, from Clinton County, that
Okay.
sit on the governing board as ex officios.
Good.
So there is representation for people
the
that are
people.
directly involved in the service. Some of the other exciting things that are coming down the pike are peer support. As I said, mobile crisis. Another piece of legislation which passed in 18 is Senate File 2450, House File 2456, excuse me, and that mandates certain core services. So, Senate File 504 asks the regions to start spending down your fund
Yes.
balance. So Senate File 2456, so regions started putting plans in place to address, let's get services up and running quicker.
Right.
But then along comes House File 2456,
Sure.
and it mandates some additional core services, including, peer support, crisis stabilization. I'm drawing a blank.
It's all right.
ACT team and some other services
Sure.
that previously weren't core services. So
Right.
there's an array of
And
core
now they
services
are. And crisis
that we have
wasn't
to.
before, was it?
Yeah, crisis was.
Has crisis
yeah,
always been?
yeah.
Okay.
Right. So there's a list of services that regions have to fund. There's also the Title 19 system, which the regions will pick up funding if a person's not eligible for Title 19 or perhaps not eligible for the specific program.
Okay.
And so, you run the danger of, if there's so many services, when do regions run out of money, and how is the state planning to fund regions?
Sure.
So, that becomes a dilemma. So that's kind of the region in
Sure.
a nutshell. And while we've got some time at community services, we also locally have a wide array of services. Our office is 315 Iowa Avenue.
The old post
The old
office.
post office, yes. And we also share that building with the Department of Human Services, so we
Right.
can be kind of a one-stop shop. We have our General Assistance Program, which is there to help people with emergency needs like rent, utilities, food. We currently house the food pantry, and we also do have pre-made food sacks for when the pantry's
Sure.
not open. So people can come to our office for assistance. And if you need to schedule an appointment, you do have to schedule an appointment, and there'll be certain things that you have to bring, and they'll tell you what to bring if you call our office.
Okay.
Our office number is 563-263-7512.
Okay.
We also house the Veterans Affairs Director, Jen Watkins-Shanig, and she's there helping veterans apply for benefits, navigate the veteran system,
And getting
scheduling
even
appointments,
rides
giving
to the
rides
VA.
to the VA,
Sure.
yeah.
Yes. Very good.
And then, we also have our trust program, which includes payee services, guardianship, and conservator services.
That's a big part of what you do, isn't
it is a big part of what we do.
Because we have folks on a disability with perhaps a mental health diagnosis, and they get disability for that and aren't able to care for it, and we wouldn't want them to spend their whole check in one day and not have a roof over their head the rest of the month. So the money goes to you, and you pay their bills.
We
and
pay their bills,
to it that they have what they need, and they get allowance.
Yeah, we're audited by Social Security every 3 years.
All up and above.
So, and you know, we're also audited by the state yearly through the county. You know, so we do pay. You're under Social Security. You're required to make sure people have housing, utilities, food, basic clothing, and then you know, whatever is left over. The trust worker, I have 2 trust social workers that they'll work with people and set up a budget. You know, for things like a cell phone or you know, bus tickets, things like that you know they need, and then money for spending, because we all want a little bit of that.
That's right. And I know some people that I've worked with that your office was their payee, that they have wanted to buy something, and they've helped them stick away a couple dollars every month to save up for something that they wanted.
And we've had people that have been able to learn to manage their own funds.
And actually go off and have their own.
Yep, and become their own payee. You know, the guardianship program, that's a program where, you know, if there's a person is not capable to make certain decisions on their own behalf, maybe there's no family, the person's disabled and needs help in that area. It's a court appointment, and it's not something where, you know, you have a guardian, so a guardian gets to tell you everything you can do or not do. There's, you know, certain parameters, and it's really more to do with, okay, maybe the person needs to access services, maybe they need to have a certain, you know, a worker, or maybe they need a certain type of placement. So those decisions are what we would be making. And then conservatorship, you know, the payeeship applies to Social Security benefits only. Conservatorship applies to, you know, if maybe somebody, for example, is in a nursing home and they get Social Security and a pension, then that would be a conservatorship.
Because it's not just Social Security.
It's not just Social Security.
Or if maybe they had an inheritance or something like that. So, and sometimes it gets real complicated. And, you know, my 2 trust social workers, Paula and Lisa, are, you know, well educated, and they're able to handle pretty much anything that gets thrown at them. And they know it's so helpful to keep them as independent as they possibly can be, but still safe and having all their needs met.
Exactly. It's a balance. It's a balance. But, you know, the trust program started with Mr. Kenny Duncan years and years ago, who I never had the privilege of meeting, and then continued by Mike Johansson, who just retired last year. And so we'll continue that, you know, service as long as it's needed, and as long as the county is willing to support that. So,
well, I think Muscatine does an excellent job with integration and keeping people living and working in the community alongside everyone else, no matter their ability or disability. And programs like this are able to keep them being able to live independently. And isn't that what everybody wants?
It's what everybody wants.
That's right. So you used to be called the Relief Office.
Oh yeah, that was years and years ago.
Yes.
And some people still call it that. You know, change is hard.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So
that's basically, it references the one program that you do that helps people when they have a desperate problem for they're going to get evicted or their electricity got turned off or something on that.
And that's the General Assistance Program. And, you know, we also work in conjunction with the city and with MCSA. MCSA has a housing advocate, pardon me, and we meet weekly with that person to discuss cases that, you know, we need to look at maybe a little bit above and beyond. They don't quite fit neatly into, you know, our parameters or anyone else's parameters, and so we do a lot of collaboration that way to see how we can, you know, how we can help people. And sometimes it's a utility bill, and if they have a little bit of help on that, the majority of the folks that we see are people that are working, often working more than one job. And you know, something's happened, maybe they've gotten sick, they have a job that doesn't pay them sick pay, and so they've had to miss work. And you know, missing 2 weeks of work when you're on a very, very tight budget,
Yeah.
you can't pay your bills.
Exactly.
So sometimes they need a little help. And what we look at, we also look at sustainability. Is the person's situation sustainable?
Sure.
Because,
You don't want to put a Band-Aid on it.
no,
and
you
have the
can't put a
same
Band-Aid
problem.
and
Yes.
have, have people back month after month.
Sure.
So we look at the long term, and then, the partnership with MCSA. Sometimes we can't help someone.
Right.
And maybe we'll suggest, maybe you need to stay at the shelter for a little bit. They can work with you, because they are working a lot with transitional housing now.
Sure.
And, maybe people just need to regroup and start over.
I just love how this team has been able to think outside the box and look for new and better solutions instead of doing the same thing over and
Yeah.
over. And some people, like you say, don't quite fit in that neat little package, and they need, let's see how we can meet
Right.
their needs and
Right.
move forward positively with some good goals and keep the people involved.
Right.
I think that's always a big key when they're on board with the plan. Doesn't that
Right.
make
Well,
all
yeah.
the difference in the world?
You have to be on board with the plan, or
That's
it's not
right.
going to work. And
That's right.
it's like, people have to have buy-in,
Oh, sure.
or it's not going to work.
And just a
So.
little bit of a hand.
And sometimes, it's like one more last chance, but you never know when that last chance is going to make, everything's going to click and things are going to work.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And then it's all worth it.
Yep.
That's right. Anything else you'd like to share with us tonight? Anything we're missing?
Well,
We had the
we've
crisis
talked about the
number up there.
crisis
We could
number.
get that up one more time.
Right, and that's a big important
Yep.
thing of what we do.
And relatively new, this crisis number.
Yeah, it's been within the past 2 or 3 years. So yeah, it's relatively
People are still,
new.
yeah, for Muscatine.
Right, and
Yes.
I know that the region, they're going to be mailing out some mailers. They did a mailing, I think pretty much to rural areas in the region back in, I think it was February or March. I know I got one, and I live in a small town
Sure,
outside the
sure.
city, but, and this time it's going to be a bigger, more concentrated mailing.
Okay, good.
There was some discussion. One of the new core services the state wants is a statewide crisis line, but many of the regions have already implemented a crisis line.
Sure.
So the question is, do you go ahead and continue to market and put, the regional crisis number out there if the
Right.
state's going to do one? And we made the decision for Eastern Iowa, we're going to continue to market this because, the state, we're not sure when that's going to happen.
Sure.
And, maybe the state will take a look and say, okay, each region or many of these regions already have this.
Sure.
Why do we want to reinvent the wheel?
Right.
If the service is there, does it really matter who's doing it?
Who's doing it?
Yeah.
And in some cases, many cases, it's better to be more local
Right, right.
because the service. Whoever's in that at Robert Young is going to have a much better grasp of what services are
Well,
available.
And the crisis line is operated by Foundation 2.
Okay.
And that's a group that's done crisis lines, for years. And so they certainly know what they're doing. They've done this kind of work. They do it for us. They do it for probably several other
a
regions
couple of other
too.
ones
Yeah.
too. Good.
Yeah.
Good. All right.
All right.
Well, thank you so much, Kathy, for all that you're doing in the community and for coming tonight and sharing. And if anybody has any questions, they can call you at Community Services.
Yep.
263-7512.
Right.
563 area code. And they can also call the crisis number anytime that they
Absolutely.
need to. And if you forget any of those numbers, you can call me at City Hall
That's right.
anytime, and I'll get you over there to them.
Diana and I have worked together in one form or another for a lot of years.
Yes,
and,
we have.
Muscatine is just, there's a lot of services here, and everybody collaborates well with each other, so it's a good area to work in this
Yeah.
field. So thank
Sure
you
is.
for having
Thank
me.
you. Thank you. Well, we are getting ready to transition to our next guest. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about something coming up. We have a trivia night coming up on Saturday, and that is going to be to benefit the Muscatine Symphony Orchestra. So it's going to be this coming Saturday, August 18th from 7 to 10. It's going to be at the Rendezvous, and you can contact Stephanie Romanoli She's here at City Hall during the day, but you can contact her on a different number, 263-7335. Of course, if you've never been to a trivia night, you bring your own snacks, the beverages you purchase from the rendezvous directly, but all the proceeds are going to go to supporting the Muscatine Symphony Orchestra. And you know what a worthwhile cause that is. So you can get out with your team, have a great evening of fun, and still be benefiting something that's quite worthwhile. So come check them out on Facebook, the Muscatine Symphony Orchestra, and you'll find all about Trivia Night. And contact Stephanie Romanoli, 263-7335, if you have any questions or would like to sign up a team. I've got a team going, and we are so looking forward to it. We're already figuring out who's bringing what for snacks, so we'll have a good time. So give her a call and try to make plans to go if you possibly can. With that, I would like to welcome our second guest of the evening, Alicia Eggers, and she is with the Muscatine Community School District Food and Nutrition Program. I don't know your exact title, Alicia.
It is Food and Nutrition Supervisor.
Okay.
And thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate it a lot. You know, school starts next week.
Hard to believe.
I know.
I'm not certain where the summer went.
I know.
Yeah.
So your staff is already there busy working, aren't they?
They cleaned all of the kitchens on Monday, and the delivery drivers delivered quite a bit of the food. And today we had a large training for computer operators, and tomorrow is all staff. So you're welcome to come out and introduce yourself and say hello and have some breakfast if you'd like.
Oh, wow. That'd
8
be
o'clock
fun.
at the high school.
8 o'clock at the high school. Well, I just might do that. Hey. Where are they going to be at? In the main area?
In the Commons.
In the Commons, yeah. And all the staff are on that, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
All of them, yes.
Okay.
They love to have a good time.
Oh, yeah, I bet. I bet. So the food and nutrition, you know, I mean, there's so much talk anymore. You know, we have such a large amount of children and families that are struggling with having enough money to cover their food costs. And so I know we have a very high rate of free and reduced lunch in our community. And so we talk a lot about making sure that the kids have enough food and a healthy meal, because it's going to be really hard for them to learn in school if their stomachs are growling and they're really hungry or worried about what they're going to eat for lunch.
Absolutely.
So your job is very, very important, and we appreciate everything that you do. Can you tell us a little bit about the food and nutrition program? Do all the schools have the same meal? Do they have different meals? How do you come up with that?
At the elementary level, they all have the same meal. And at the middle schools, they have the same meal, and then there might be some extras offered where they have like a salad bar type thing that they can choose their fresh fruits and vegetables from. The elementary schools are served through a line. They're served, so they don't serve themselves, but there's a large variety. We have more access to more fresh fruits and vegetables than we ever have.
That's good.
So which you know is an opportunity for kids sometimes to be exposed to items that maybe families aren't able to afford or choose to purchase at home. Last year we served 207,000 breakfasts.
Wow.
And almost a million lunches, and which equates to 93,000 pounds of meat, 100,000 pounds of grain, 500,000 pounds of fruits and vegetables, and 1 million cartons of milk.
Wow. Now, does each school prepare everything and cook it themselves, or does one school cook everything and then deliver it to all the schools?
So there are three schools, Central, West, and High School, that cooks things from a raw state. And then those items, those things like spaghetti, macaroni and cheese, taco salad, things like that, get shipped with delivery drivers from those locations out to the elementary buildings. Things like chicken patties, assorted juices, fruits, and things like that are delivered in cases by the delivery drivers.
Okay.
Yep. So then they prep them If there's grapes that have to be cleaned, they arrive at the elementary buildings in cases, and then they clean them and prep them for meal service.
How many staff do you have?
It's about, I would say, with substitutes, it's between 85 and 90.
Wow.
They're awesome.
That's a big crew.
Yeah.
And they love it,
awesome.
I know a few of them.
Yeah.
And they love their jobs.
That's awesome.
That's
good to hear.
Yes.
That's the number one goal, is for them to have a good time.
Oh, sure. And it makes the kids have a good time.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, yes. So can you tell us about, we all know that we've been taught, you have to eat stuff from all of the food groups, but those have changed a little bit, because it's not just fruits and vegetables anymore, and meat and dairy. There's a little bit more to it than that now,
There
isn't
is
there?
a little bit, yes. We serve balanced meals that are regulated by the state and the federal government. We get reviewed every 3 years. Our last review was this past January of 2018. The State Department was here for 3 days.
Wow.
We have to offer for lunch 5 components, which is meat alternates, which meat alternates are like cheese, could be eggs, could be peanut butter. Grains, which could be bread, like or a bun for a sandwich, could be butter bread.
Does it have to be whole grain?
It does.
It does. Okay.
Yep. And we serve fruits and vegetables, and then a milk. So the 5 requirements, and I've brought a tray today. I'm not quite sure where to put it.
Where can you see it? They'll tell us.
So I brought a sample of what an elementary school student may be served. We've got a small serving of pasta, which I didn't have the chicken to go inside of our pasta, like for a chicken Alfredo or chicken noodles. So I brought a grilled chicken, side of peas, a cupcake, a fruit, a slice of bread, a banana. So they have choices of, we serve a variety of fresh fruits and vegetables. So they get to choose. We serve our meals, it's called offer versus serve. So the students get to choose what they're served.
All right.
So they could decline.
So they can say, I don't want
the peas. The one thing that they do have to do is take a fruit or a vegetable. They have to, so they couldn't walk away.
And with none of that.
Right, they couldn't walk away with just this. They have to take
one or the other.
Right. Now, if they choose not to eat it, that's entirely up to them. And we do encourage sharing tables, so that if they don't want their apple or their banana, they can set it off on a specific area in the building to where other kids can take it if they'd like to eat it.
Instead of just throwing it away.
Right.
Isn't that a good idea?
Yeah, that of course cuts down on food waste, and then someone else that's hungry is able to eat.
Yeah, or even take that apple for later, for an afternoon snack. Sure.
Which we're fortunate enough in 2 of the schools to have, in addition to serving breakfast and lunch, we serve a fresh fruit and vegetable snack. So that's every day for the whole school year at Franklin and Jefferson.
How are those decided?
We have to submit an application to the State Department, and it is the schools that are more than 50% free and reduced percentages are considered first throughout the state before anyone below 50%. Yeah.
So in the afternoon they get us a fresh fruit, like they might get a banana or an apple.
Yep, grapes, could be kiwi, it could be like a pluot, which is an apricot and a plum hybrid type thing.
Sure.
So we try to change it up and give them things that they're not going to be exposed to necessarily at home. It's surprising when we first started. So Jefferson's had it since 2002. The kids that had never seen a fresh pear, or they would say that apples look like firecrackers because of the different colors in the apples when we served a variety. One thing that we're really very excited about this school year is that we have 4 schools in the district at the elementary level that have qualified for free breakfast and free lunch. 2 of those schools receive the free fresh fruit and vegetable snack too.
Wow.
So in the past, those schools served they had the choice of serving the snack in the morning or in the afternoon. Well, now that they're getting free breakfast and free lunch, they're going to serve the snack in the afternoon so that they have a snack before they go home. So those schools with the free breakfast and lunch is Franklin, Jefferson, Madison, and McKinley.
Isn't that nice?
It's very, very, very
so
exciting.
Anybody who goes to that school,
that's right.
They don't even have to bring in anything to show that they are qualified.
Absolutely
They
not.
just automatically. Is that easier for you guys?
Well, I think it's going to be.
I would think so.
We don't have to, at the administration level, we don't have to process free or reduced applications for families unless they have children in other schools. So if they have a child that goes to Franklin or Jefferson and they have another child that goes to West or Central, they would still want to complete a free and reduced application.
Okay.
So that if they could end up qualifying for that other student too.
Right, that's true.
And they would want to include that student from the what's called the Community Eligibility Provision, the CEP school. They would want to make sure that they include that other student on the application because it still counts as a household member.
Sure, and that figures into what your bottom line is
That's
financially.
Right. Yep,
How many
household members
Sure.
are considered, income are considered. Yeah, so it's gonna, it should be a lot easier for those four schools
and for you
us.
guys, sure, sure.
And we're hoping that in the future that we can get more schools to qualify. It's very, very, very exciting. It's
so no middle schools.
Not at this time. No, we really tried. We tried all sorts of scenarios to try to get as many schools as possible, and we thought maybe, like with Franklin, that maybe including West would be more helpful. But it just wouldn't work.
It didn't work?
No.
Okay.
It just didn't work.
Sure. So at the middle school, they get a little bit more choices.
They do. Sometimes we offer, like this year we're going to introduce, we put out a bid for commercial pizza. And we will introduce at the middle schools Little Caesars Pizza.
Okay.
And the high school is already receiving that. They were receiving that the last year. So we're introducing that. At both middle schools, they have salad bars, so they can choose from celery and carrots and grapes and bananas, and there's just anything that you can think of is available for fruits and vegetables.
Do the kids engage in taking?
Oh, absolutely. And the nice thing is by offering all those assorted fresh fruits and vegetables, there's so many choices. So, we assume and hope that they're going to select, well, they have to choose one.
Yes.
So we'd rather provide something that they're going to like.
Yep. Sure. And I always think giving them choices, like a salad bar, looks better. Because they can pick and choose what they like. They don't like tomatoes or what have you.
And I think at the middle school levels, they like that, being able to serve themselves.
Sure.
We've tried it at the elementary level. It's just a little bit more difficult for little ones to be able to choose.
Sure.
And then there's always the speed and how many students there are to get through in a short amount of time.
Sure. Now, how is the high school different then?
The high school has similar to like a food court, where there's like 7, 8 different locations that that students can get a meal from.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter if your meal status is free or reduced or full pay.
Okay.
The options are the same for all students.
Okay.
So upstairs we have a cafe that in the past we've served commercial pizza from there. Downstairs we have like a grill line that we have a spicy chicken sandwich, a hamburger, grilled chicken, cheeseburgers. We have a variety of just different like cheesy breadsticks. We have sub sandwiches where the kids can have a fixins bar so they can put their own toppings on.
Sure.
We have a Mexican line where they can onions and peppers.
Make a burrito and whatever they want.
Kind of, yeah. We do usually serve the entree because it's hot, so we don't have the students dealing with
Sure, and then they can put all their topping stuff on it. Okay.
Yep.
Good.
So downstairs, at all 3 locations, there's a salad bar type thing. So that it may be It'll have grapes and lettuce and romaine lettuce and spinach and just a variety
All
of
different kinds.
Yeah, we're very, very, very fortunate.
Sure. Now, what about breakfast? What do they get for breakfast?
So at the high school level, there's a variety of different things that they serve. Bagels and breakfast sandwiches, sometimes pizza sliders, pancakes,
a
French
whole big
toast.
choice?
Yeah, they
Really?
they probably have 7 or 8 choices
Oh,
a day
okay.
for breakfast. At the elementary level and the middle school level, it just follows the same the pre-K-8 menu, where
Okay.
it could be like, we always have assorted cold cereals. 2/3 of our kids take cold cereals. They just do.
Yes.
But like the second day of school, we have a cinnamon roll. They love they don't know it. I don't think they know it. They love the whole grain Long Johns.
Really?
Yes, it's one of their favorite breakfast days, and we used to have them on Thursdays. And a little boy at Jefferson said to me, "We should have them on Mondays because maybe more kids would come to school on time." And I'm like,
There you go.
Beautiful.
Good idea.
Yeah. So now we're serving the whole grain Long Johns on Mondays as an incentive to come to school.
Sure.
And at the elementary level, we're also going to introduce this year on Mondays serving the fat-free strawberry milk. Because they really like that. They really like that
strawberry
too.
milk.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even the elementary school kids get a choice then for breakfast.
Oh, absolutely.
So they can always have cold cereal,
Always.
or there's another item to choose from.
Yep. Yes, and we will also do like assorted toast options, because sometimes kids will come in and they're not morning people. They're not really that
Sure.
hungry. So sometimes we'll offer cinnamon toast, or
Okay.
like toast with peanut butter, just jelly.
My grandson used to eat cheese toast at school. I don't know what that was. He went to Clinton.
Oh,
and
that's
he
interesting.
always said, "Grandma, I like the cheese," and I would try to make him cheese toast. No, that wasn't it. I could never get out of him what it really was.
Oh, that's funny. Now we don't serve.
I never
cheese
heard of
toast,
cheese
but, you know,
toast. I
hey.
know.
Hey, maybe.
Who knows? You get a little
You might
protein
be onto
in
something
there.
there. That's right.
I don't know what it is.
That's
no
right.
idea.
That's right.
So then the kids, so what time can they have to come early for school in order to have lunch, right?
Or to have breakfast?
Yeah, or breakfast, yes.
Yes. And like at McKinley, they start at 7:30 because they have more students. You know, I mean, they have
Okay.
larger students. But most of the schools start at elementary levels between 7:30 and 7:40.
Okay, so they need to get there about 15 minutes early for school if they want to have breakfast.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yep. And then the middle schools, it's like 10 till, I think. And that's probably, like the high school, we start a little earlier because there's early bird gym, there's students that just come in to, just to socialize. And so, yeah, we try to keep the assortment so that they want to come to breakfast. We want them in our, we want them in our kitchens.
That's right.
We want to,
Yeah.
and we have a captive audience. At lunchtime, it's a closed campus.
Yep.
So we're going to step up our game
Sure,
this year. We're pretty
sure.
excited about that
Good.
too.
Now for lunch at the elementary schools, you always have an alternate in case they don't like it, right?
Yes.
So what kind of things do you have for that?
It could be cheeseburger, hamburger, grilled
Okay.
chicken.
Something simple that
Yes.
most kids would like if they didn't like
right.
beef stroganoff or what
Right.
have you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or spaghetti, peanut butter is always available too, or sun butter at allergen schools, because we do have some schools that the allergies are restricted enough.
So if you have serious allergies at a school, then the whole school is banned from peanut butter. But if you have a school that doesn't,
Right.
then they do still get peanut butter.
They do still get peanut butter.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. I wasn't quite sure on how that worked. What else am I missing? What do the folks at home need to know, the families?
Well, we do encourage families to apply for free or reduced meals. It's very important for them to know that a new application has to be completed every school year,
Okay.
except for the
It does.
CEP schools, unless
That's
they have
automatic,
right,
unless they have an
have
older.
other.
Now, do they have to worry about being embarrassed, or is this really confidential? Like, will the teachers all know that their child is eligible for free and reduced lunches, or is it kept really confidential that
It is
nobody
very
needs
confidential.
to know? Good.
The only way that other people are going to find out is if the children tell them.
Okay.
And sometimes they do.
Because the children really don't even need
They
to know.
No, they wouldn't necessarily unless their family
Their parents
tells them.
told them.
Yes, yes.
Because I always worry about that, some of the families I work with, especially working families, that, you know, they're working really hard because they don't want to have a handout or be embarrassed or anything like that, and so they don't always apply. And I always encourage them, no, you
absolutely
apply
yes.
for this. This is something that is out there for this very reason, and I know you do a really good job to keep it confidential so they don't have to worry about their child being embarrassed.
Absolutely not.
Because I remember back in the day when the kids who got free and reduced had a different colored ticket.
I was a free kid my whole life, and I had a different colored ticket, and
Yes.
I loved school meals, so it didn't make any difference
Sure.
to me. But it was just, you know, I mean, it was, everybody knew.
Sure, and I just love it now that it's doesn't have to be that way now. Other people don't even need to know. In fact, the child doesn't even need to know.
Right.
And I think
Right.
that's just
That is-
amazing
yes,
how
it's
you
very
guys are able to
exciting.
keep that all confidential now.
With something that new that we've added this year to enhance the confidentiality is we've added an online application.
Oh.
It's always been available to print online on the school's website, but now we have one that can be submitted online.
Nice.
So people can do it from the comfort of their homes in their pajamas if they'd like.
Sure.
So that we're excited about that. There
Okay,
is
good.
no such thing as a dumb question. We're always willing to help people, and we know that there's all sorts of different situations, and you know we're prepared to help out with that.
Sure.
Sometimes families might be doubled up. Let's say if dad has left or mom has left, and they're living with someone else. If they're living with someone else, they should contact us, because when you're doubled up with another family, they're automatically going to be free.
Okay.
And when families apply for free or reduced meals, it carries them through the whole school year.
Oh, they don't have
But,
to.
right, they don't have to apply again.
Okay.
But let's say they reply and their meal status is reduced, which is 30 cents for breakfast and 40 cents for lunch.
Okay.
If their meal status is reduced and something changes in their household, let's say grandma moves in, or a new baby is born, or mom or dad's hours were cut at work by 20 hours a week or something like that. If their income changes, they can come in, and we can edit that application.
And maybe now they will qualify.
Right.
So it doesn't work against you.
Right.
It could work in your
It could,
favor.
absolutely.
Okay, very good.
Yep.
Very good. Because the last thing we want is for families to be stressed about their children
Absolutely.
eating throughout the school year.
We want to feed their kids. We want to
That's
feed
right.
their kids, and oftentimes I ask parents if they have successful recipes to please share them with us, because we might be able to, feeding 5,000 kids is a lot different than feeding 1, 2, 3, or 4 or 5.
Sure,
I mean, it's
sure.
actually easier to feed 300 kids than it is to feed 10.
Probably.
In our world,
Yes,
it is.
yes.
But we're always looking for successful recipes from parents at home, because it could be successful for us too.
Sure, sure. So can you tell me, do you get feedback from the kids?
Yes, yes, and thank you cards, and it's a very rewarding.
Oh, I bet it is.
It's very rewarding, and I know that my staff, they probably get more rewards than they get. Lots of
Probably.
hugs when
I
they
bet.
go.
Yes.
When they're at Walmart, and
Uh-huh.
and children will say, "You're in clothes," meaning they're not in scrubs.
Exactly,
Yes,
exactly.
yes. But they.
Yeah.
My staff are amazing, and they
sure
work
are.
very hard,
Yes.
and I'm very proud of all of them.
Now, I know the answer to this question before I even ask you, but what do you do to accommodate those folks with special diets, those kids that need special things?
So there are some differences. There are some disabilities that are based on dietary restrictions. We've just hired a new dietitian, very excited about that.
Oh, good.
Our dietitian retired 2 years ago, and now we have a new one. But she will plan meals for lactose-free diets, work on low carb for diabetes.
Our granddaughter has type 1, and she usually takes her lunch because she needs to know her carb count, but sometimes she likes to eat. And I know anytime my daughter has contacted them, they've always been able to give her that carb count, which that's what you got to know is how much it is, and they've always been very, very helpful.
The nurses are very, very helpful too. So we work together with the nurses, and we have like a Google Doc that shows what the carbs are, and we're going to be implementing some digital menus that parents or students even will be able to kind of hover over the menu items and tell what
and learn the nutritional. Oh, won't that be helpful?
Yes.
In our world, we're always trying to find the carb counts of everything that we have.
Yes.
Even me, I get in trouble for throwing away boxes because we got to look at the yes. So that'll be really helpful.
It will be very helpful.
Yes. The families will really like that a lot. The one thing that I learned from this that was surprising to me is I always thought that fruits and vegetables were one category. But they're two separate. One's fruits, one's vegetables.
Are now. Yep, they used to be one category.
I thought so, and you had to eat so many servings in that. But now that they're separate, you have to eat some of both.
You have to take
not for
one.
lunch. Yes.
Yep.
But in your life, you need to be eating out of both,
Absolutely.
not just one.
Yes. Yes.
I love the My Plates and how you set it out, and I've seen at Walmart even you can buy plates that have those dividers to try to help you know of how much.
Those are very helpful,
aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Yes, and even your trays was like that, and it shows you how much, like your meat up here wasn't near as big as the fruits and vegetables. So on milk, do they get to choose white, chocolate, and strawberry any day?
So at the high school and the middle schools, they get the choice of 1% white, skim white, and skim chocolate. And skim strawberry.
Okay.
And that's at the middle school and the high school. And the elementary level, Mondays, they get to choose the 1% white, the chocolate, and the strawberry.
All 1%s.
The chocolate and strawberry are fat-free. They're skim.
Okay, they're both skim.
They don't taste like it to me, but
okay. So the strawberry on Mondays now that they get is that breakfast and lunch then?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yep. Not just breakfast.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, good. What do you think is going to be what kids are going to notice the biggest difference of this coming year, coming back?
Well, I think for one, they're going to notice the branding in the schools, in the facilities. Okay. We're adding the muskies.
Yes,
and
I love that.
Yeah, it looks very nice. And we had to do the branding too. And that was actually
Did you?
Yeah, they didn't ask us to do that. My favorite color just happens to be purple.
Purple.
So
there you go.
It works out. So, but I think that's going to be the number one thing that they're going to notice. But we're going to make a lot of changes and do some sampling within the meal period.
Oh, really?
To try to get kids more interested.
To try new things? I think that's a good idea. I think portion size too. I think some kids are just totally overwhelmed when it's a ton of stuff. And you guys do a good job of a little bit of this, and a little bit of that, a little bit of this. Yeah,
Yes.
Very good.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you think we need to know? I know there's a
there's
lot of
so
stuff. I
much,
bet you
yeah.
could talk for days about everything. I bet you
I talk
could.
in my sleep, so.
Oh yeah, me too. Thank you so much for coming,
Thank you for
Alicia.
having me.
We really
appreciate it.
And we know you do a good job taking care of all of our kids and keeping them fed and healthy. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, as we get ready to end this session of our city, I just wanted to ask you to save a couple dates as we close up here. August 25th is the next Coffee with the Mayor. So please get that scheduled on your calendar if you would. Next Tuesday night, our guests are Rosa Mendoza with Diversity Service Center and Jennifer DeFosse with Muscatine Farmers Market. And that'll be a really good show also. I want to remind you, we do have a council meeting on this Thursday. And one last thing that I'd like to share with you, Tony Loconzol, and I know that's the wrong way to pronounce his name, but he has been doing a trivia night, just a fun, free trivia night at Hy-Vee on one Monday evening. You'll have to check on Facebook for whichever one it's going to be that month, of just different fun things, and families have been coming out. It's been just a ton of fun, and I was able to go last night, and we had a good time. Last night it was all about Friends. All the questions were about the movie or the show Friends, which I've never seen one episode of. So I just held on to my chair there and had fun with my family, visiting and having a good time. And luckily my daughter and granddaughter know everything there is to know about Friends, and my cousin Beatrice, and it was a good time though. So if you haven't gotten out to one of those yet, last month was Harry Potter, next month is Parks and Rec and The Office. So fun times, and even if you've never seen the shows, as I said, it's a good fun time just to get out and spend time together with your family. So have a good rest of your week. We look forward to seeing you next Tuesday here on Our City.
Our City with Mayor Diana Broderson replays on MPW Channel 9, Wednesday at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. and Thursday at 7 a.m. Of course, we're live every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. on Facebook. Email us at ourcity@muscatineiowa.gov.